we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Lakers Fast Break Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, I'm going to drop on Friday morning for you guys. We're going to be covering a lot of things, including what's going on with Project Helix, even more detailed at GDC this week, plus also PlayStation and their moves behind the scenes, popular or unpopular. Plus, we go ahead and talk about what's going on in the world of movies, streaming, and of course, video games and more. So go ahead and check it out at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Henry just told me he checked out the Pop Culture Cosmos, so I'm very thankful for that. So if you do as well, it is sincerely appreciated. And I have been dropping recent episodes and making it available on the Lakers Fast Break podcast YouTube channel on a delayed basis as well. But also as well, got to go ahead and give some love as Joe and I can to Drip Show at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. You could win one of these bad boys right here. In fact, we're going to be running a contest in the near future where you, if you are in the continental United States, can win one of these. Gonna right there, looking good, young Mamba skate deck. All right, and it could be yours. Go ahead and make sure you're a subscriber to us here at the Lakers Fast Break, and also as well, of course, a subscriber to at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Drinks for our hosts, G and J. Well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here because I'm going to go to the airport, but I will leave it in the good hands of Joe Soro, aka Mr. Experiment. Go ahead and check out what he's doing at the Joe Soro Experiment. He was on for a couple hours last night. So go ahead and hear what he said on the NFL, free agency, Dodgers, World Baseball Classic, the Lakers, and more right there at the Joe Soro Experiment and Simblades with a Y.com. With the Lakers heading into tonight, a chance to get into third place in the Western Conference. And tonight they have the Chicago Bulls, a team that decided at the trade deadline to just trade a lot of their assets away. You thought you weren't going to get much pushback from them. And defensively, it didn't look like either team after the second quarter decided they wanted to play defense. But the Lakers decided to turn on the offense today and go ahead and, well, they shot really well. At second quarter, 41 points. Third quarter, 41 points and 34 points in the fourth quarter, taking it home with the offense. Defense decided to take the night off, and the Lakers, again, had as much as a 20-point lead and held off the Chicago Bulls. Just kept them right around about 10 points, 8 to 12 points through the rest of the way. 142 to 130. They're now 41 and 25 and in third place in the Western Conference. But Joe is here. Joe, great to have you here, my friend. Your thoughts? Again, defense was not on point today. I don't think it just seemed like the effort. Both teams decided not to give it on that end of the court. But Luka with 51 points today, lighting it up all over the place. 51 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. DeAndre Ayton chipping in with 23 and 10. Austin Reeves had 30 himself. And LeBron James, after struggling in the first half, chipped in with a nice batch in the third quarter to get him 18, 7, and 7. Your thoughts, my friend, on today's game?
Very encouraged by DeAndre Ayton's play the last three games. The energy plays that he made in the game were the best plays. The 23 and 10 is actually, I didn't even pay attention to what his numbers were until you just told me. I actually was pretty surprised. I didn't know he had a 20 and 10 game. Mm-hmm. As far as Luka Doncic is concerned, he was due a 50-point game. Coincidentally, it was after the 83-point game that Bam Adebayo has already done. Yeah. So, in looking at the stat line on that, he only went to the line 9 times and hit 8 out of 9. He hit 9 threes tonight. Also, I think that's pretty amazing out of 14. When you have a man who is constantly shadowed in terms of a second defender and controls the ball as much as they do, hitting 17 of 31, hitting 9 of 14 from the 3-point line, and then hitting all but one free throw and only having one turnover. I don't know if you can get any more efficient than that in 37 minutes. I really don't. This Luka Doncic is an MVP. I don't know if he's going to make it there, but this is not going to go away anywhere. As a matter of fact, this probably is going to get a little bit easier for him once this team is set up for the title, the consistent title run. And it was nice. It was nice seeing today's game because you could see Chicago hitting shots. They weren't missing for the longest time. I mean, they dropped 130 points for God's sakes, but it's a good thing that they don't play defense either. But this is the Lakers continue to stay undefeated when scoring over 120. So the sweet spot is score 120 and the Lakers will win the game. So that's a pretty interesting statistic that I learned a few days ago. But it was again, there was a lot of entertainment tonight in terms of Luka Doncic's play. Love LeBron doing some of those dunks. Austin Reeves came in at a time where the Bulls were making a run there in the fourth quarter, and he kind of sunk that for them with a couple of a clutch three and a clutch 2-point play. And they were missing a little bit on defense. When you don't have Marcus Smart in there, that I know he's not a all-world defender like he used to be, but he does play a factor in the team defensive aspect of things. And when you can win without him in there, when you can win without Jackson Hayes backing up DeAndre Ayton, when you can win when LaRavia is really struggling from in terms of scoring, I think.
And Luke Kennard as well today as well.
Luke Kennard is, I mean, what can you say? I think Luke Kennard is already ahead of. He's already ahead no matter what. He didn't have a bad game, but he did have a nice three earlier. But that's better than anything what we had before that. And they didn't really need him.
They didn't need the bench, Joe. They only had 5 points combined from the entire bench. So
if you're we watched the Lakers win multiple titles without a bench in the early 2000s. They had a good bench in 2008. I remember. I think that might have been the best bench I'd seen in any Laker game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to win it all that year. But yeah, it's this is likely going to be what they're going to have to roll with in the playoffs because they don't really have anybody else. They're going to need guys like Kennard, like LaRavia, like Jackson Hayes. That's probably going to be the rotation. It's going to be LaRavia, it's going to be Kennard, and it's going to be Jackson Hayes, and then the starters. That's going to be the rotation. And it might be even shorter than that because they may just run a center position with LeBron, depending on who they end up playing. But I'm happy where they're. I'm happy with what they're doing. Getting the 3 and hopefully maintaining the 3 in terms of seeding could go a long way and maybe giving them a chance to make right what they got wrong last year. Because if they can stay at the 3, I have a pretty good feeling they're going to either face Minnesota or Houston. Because I do think Denver winning today still gives me that feeling that Denver's going to get 3 or 4. They're going to be somewhere in the 3 or 4 when this is all said and done, and then Houston and Minnesota are going to battle for the 5 and the 6. Phoenix still has a chance to get in there, of course, but I'm going to take Durant in Houston and Anthony Edwards in Minnesota due to the fact that they are stars. One is a fading star, but still good, and then of course you have one of the biggest stars in Anthony Edwards. I'm gonna go on that side a little bit because usually that's how it works in the NBA. But the Lakers are doing what they're supposed to do, and that's all we can do right now is wait and see how this plays out. And I think the seeding would be beneficial for them if they can get to the 3, because if they were to get to 3 and they face, let's say, Houston or Minnesota, I feel pretty comfortable, especially with the results of this year against Minnesota and Houston. They still got a couple more games to play against them. I believe it's a back-to-back game when they do play them. If they can win those 2 games against Houston, then it gives us a good feeling that they can probably match up well against them. And they win that first round, let's say against Houston or Minnesota, now you're going to probably face San Antonio. And then who knows? It's a young team in San Antonio. I know they're determined. I know that they've got good firepower there with Wembanyama and the rest of the gang. But a younger team against a team like Luka and a seasoned team like LeBron and Reeves now at this point, I'm not saying this because I'm a Laker fan. I'm gonna be like, well, let's see how this plays out. I'm not going to be, too worried. But it's a good path. And then what happens after that? We're going to have to wait and see. Is Oklahoma going to be able to make it through without an injury? Is San Antonio going to be? So the important part here is try to extend this as far as you can so that Oklahoma City or San Antonio, feel the grind of that run. And then maybe a couple things go your way. Maybe Luka goes ape shit and starts playing like 2024 Luka. You never know. We'll have to wait and see.
Once again, the Lakers do win 142-130. They're now 41-25, third place in the Western Conference. Thank you, El Rosto, for the generous super chat. Drinks for our host, G&J. I know JY was talking about how, LeBron coming back into the lineup after, I'm sure, seeing and hearing the various comments that were made about how this team is better statistically, much better statistically without LeBron. He comes in tonight, struggles in the first half, but laid it on in the third quarter himself. DeAndre Ayton, obviously having a good game himself, Joe. But the thing is, before we bring it over to Legend, I want to ask your thoughts on this. DeAndre Ayton today with 23 and 10, LeBron James 18, much of that in the second half. Rui with 15. Again, the starters scored virtually all their points. But with DeAndre Ayton, I notice he has these big games against teams that don't have really a big guy that they can draw from or play against. Is this sustainable for DeAndre Ayton, or are we going to just continue to see it like this? He's going to feast against the little guys going forward.
I don't know that answer. New York doesn't have a big, so that doesn't count, even though New York is capable. Gobert is always suspect in terms of the physicality of being a big man, but he also did probably play, in my view, the best playoff series he's ever played last year in beating the Lakers 4-1, and he was non-existent in the last game. I don't know, and I don't really care. If DeAndre Ayton has that kind of energy against anybody, that's all I'm asking for at this point. I'm not going to be greedy at this point. Has to happen, otherwise they're not going to get past the first round. They need a DeAndre Ayton. They need Marcus Smart to kind of fill in the gaps that they were missing last year. Someone that could go and die for a ball, get the 50-50s. Jackson Hayes and Marcus Smart, I feel like I don't think I ever saw them go 50-50 and lose this year, at least not from memory. And those type of plays not only help the team get possession, but it also what's going on over there, Legend? You talking to somebody?
Oh no. That was on my TV. Oh, my bad.
Oh, it's just too fickle of a league to go beyond what you see today. I just can't. It's so many times we've said something and then it changes. It's too long of a season. The basketball has become too inconsistent in terms of availability. Why was Marcus Smart out? He played like a maniac in the last game. All of a sudden he's out. Like, we don't know anything game to game.
Was it a hip contusion? I think that's bothering him. Yeah, I think it's a right hip contusion. And what is a contusion, Joe?
It's a bruise.
Yes, it's a bruise. Yes. He is listed as day-to-day.
It's the bruise of the labia at this point.
JJ said he is listed as day-to-day going forward.
We're all listed day-to-day.
I know we are. I'm going to say that. But let me get Legend in here, of course, from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, great to have you here. Joe will probably be taking over hosting here any minute because I'm waiting for to head to the airport here. But Legend, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this with the Lakers again reclaiming third place in a very tight race in the Western Conference, making a definitive statement tonight from Luka. Defense took the night off. They did not have that same kind of effort intensity, but they didn't need it because they were able to outscore the tanking Bulls in that second, third quarter, just enough to go ahead and distance themselves for the victory tonight, Legend. Your thoughts on tonight's victory for the Los Angeles Lakers?
I'm gonna definitely say that the Lakers went out and took care of business. They went out and beat a team that they should beat without no problem. And then Luca went out here and made a pretty good statement as well, dropping his 51 piece tonight. And gotta agree with a lot of other people. That 51 looked a lot better than that 83 we saw a couple nights ago. But Lakers did their job. Went in, handled business, didn't waste no time with the Bulls, didn't play with their food. They went in and handled their business. And got LeBron back too, so I even add more to it. And at this point, I mean, really ain't much really say other than they did their job. They played defense wasn't as good as they did the last two games, but still enough to handle their business. Offense explosion was perfect. Luca, AR both went off, did their thing. I mean, hitting one almost 150. That's impressive. Score that much, you most likely going to win the game. He's scoring that type of scoring input. But Lakers handle their business tonight and going to get ready for Denver now. They're coming in.
They are indeed. So we'll see what happens Saturday. They're coming off a good win on the road in against San Antonio. But San Antonio had Victor Wembanyama take the night off with ankle soreness, aka just giving him a rest. I know he was complaining about how physically tired he was over the course of playing, I think, a back-to-back game over the past weekend. So I know that I think that just San Antonio, like I said, Joe, giving him the night off. With that, though, Denver comes in with a little bit of momentum.
You're awesome.
Again, right there. And thank you, Orosto. Truly appreciate you joining up for another month, 13 months in a row of membership. Your thoughts, though, on LeBron James, Joe? The course of much discussion over the past few days with him not being in the lineup, the Lakers finding success without him in the lineup. What do you think that LeBron was all about today? Because again, he played like as Jay White talked about, a third or fourth option today, and it really seemed to suit him well if he sticks to that script. But I have a feeling he may not want to stick to that script.
It's sad commentary when you can feel an audience waiting for a disaster to happen so that you can blame somebody for it. You could feel it because LeBron took a minute to get going in the first half, and you could just feel it in and around the air on social media, on forums. They were just waiting for the Lakers to maybe blow this, and then they were just ready to just pounce. I gotta say, something happened the other day with the Aaron Judge discussion on Twitter. I went viral for the first time on there. I think that's still counting. I think it's 130,000 views on a response I had. And tone is so hard to gauge sometimes online, but then I had to go all in at that point because I couldn't, because there was a little bit of irritation with it. The whole thing is we watched him again strike out in a big moment, and yet I've been told a lot during the offseason, I don't know where the hell this came from all of a sudden this offseason, that Aaron Judge is better than Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, are you delusional? Like, Yankee fans have really hit the crapper at that point, right? And then this whole negative thing that just surrounded it and just kept going and going and going. I was like, 40 characters, whatever it is, that I don't have time for this anymore. And I didn't even want it to be like that because I do like Aaron Judge. When we talk about LeBron, I know a lot of it is his fault. He created this image, but did he? Because people hate every other comment online when it comes to Ohtani is a gambling joke. Every comment about the Dodgers is they're paying too much money, and these are nice guys too, right? Patrick Mahomes, I said this on the show yesterday. Patrick Mahomes is hated now. I don't see where the hate is from. He's never done anything to hate him, right? So this negativity of or anticipate waiting to waiting for the negative to come so you can pounce that feel is a pretty disgusting thing to see. When I watch the game tonight, I'm not thinking about LeBron screwing the Lakers over. If that is what you're waiting on, you should stop watching basketball and you should go put your head through a window, and maybe that'll move your brain a little bit. And if it doesn't move your brain, at least maybe you can spare us your existence at that point. I know I'm sounding pretty harsh here, but I'm sick of it. Because I'm talking about something simple and it gets blown up into something that wasn't my point. Stop telling me someone is better than another guy when it's not true. Especially when I keep seeing strikeouts in big moments. Well, he had a home run off, what's his name? In the wild card. No one gives a fuck about a wild card game or an NLDS in a game that you were already behind in a series. It's like, and then LeBron's thing is, well, LeBron is this and LeBron is that, and he might cost the Lakers. Like, guys, you got to pay attention a little bit and focus on the Lakers winning. If you're worried about the LeBron narrative, that seems to be the word of the year, the last year, then you're not really here to watch the Lakers win. I don't know what's going to happen. Everything from the past told me that the way the Lakers are structured, the way that they have played, they're not going to win a championship. But we actually don't really know that. You know how I know that? Because I saw the best team in the NBA last year need 7 games to beat two teams that I didn't think were that good last year. They were good, but not that good. And the reason why they were not that good is because Denver was hurt and Indiana was hurt. And we don't know if that's going to happen again. And you have to factor in that you do have LeBron James, and he has been a winner. Maybe not as much as he should have been, but he still won 4 championships. Oh, and you have Luka in his prime. And maybe we might see Reeves come out of his shell in terms of a playoff run. So we have to wait this out. Stop worrying about what fucking LeBron is doing or not doing. Focus on the wins. Put your efforts in the Lakers getting support to win. Do you want to win a championship, or do you want to go jerk off waiting for the Lakers to lose so that you can go blame LeBron? Is that your life's worth? If that is, I don't feel sorry for you. I think you're just a fucking useless person. And it's amazing what was going on in that first quarter when LeBron wasn't scoring. I was reading some stuff. I'm like, you guys are garbage. I'm not saying people on here. I'm sure maybe there was somebody on here, but I don't know. But my God, they were just foaming at the mouth, waiting. It was, you could hear it and see it, even though you could only read it. They were foaming at the mouth, just waiting for the Lakers to screw this game up so they could get their jollies off how LeBron came back. And now we get to fucking go off on behind my little pussy-ass phone and my pussy-ass fucking computer so I can be the big bad wolf where no one can slap me in the face for doing what I'm doing. Focus on the Lakers winning. If the Lakers are going to win this year, folks, no matter how much you want to look at this, they have to have LeBron play well. They don't have that much talent. They need LeBron to be, in a lot of ways, great as he can be, and it's going to be needed at the greatest time. Now, please, for the love of God, I've asked you this a few times. JJ, please, in the close games, devise a plan to get the fucking ball to Luka this year. You still haven't done it. We're almost done with the season. That's my rant for the evening.
Well, you might have another one because 805 says Luka almost blew today's game, and and Nick T is in the house. But Legend, I know you have to leave in 5 minutes. I have to leave now, but I will be back, Joe.
Luka blew the game? You mean the same game where when he sat in the first quarter when they were up, and all of a sudden he came back and they were down 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy.
805, were you watching through your butthole during that time? Or what? Like, really? Like, I'm being serious. How do you blow a game that you've led the entire time? Practically, right? Except when Luka sat.
So, Legend, let me get it to you before you and I both head on out. And actually, I'm heading out, but then I'll be back as soon as I can, Joe. I want to go ahead and mention Legend again. A great performance from Luka. I don't know what he can do to the haters, like 805 and Nick T. 51 points, a very efficient 17 of 31 overall, 9 of 14 from 3, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals. In the past 3 games, he has played really, really well, putting him back into at least the MVP conversation to a point where you could say, hey, it's something at least to think about. I mean, I talked about how if in order for him to get back into that airspace, Legend, the team had to be playing at a much higher level. They can't be a 6th place team and him be an MVP candidate. Well, they're now in 3rd place, Legend. He just scored 51, 10, and 9. I don't know. It just seems like he cannot please everyone with what he's doing out there, Legend. And I'll leave you guys at that, and I'll be back ASAP.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that is MVP numbers, and that deserves to be in that MVP conversation. To me, she should have been there in the get go. But I get like what Gerald said. You get a 6th seed. It's kind of hard to ignore that seeding spot. But to me, as long as you stay in that 3rd seed range, you should be in the MVP conversation. There should be no doubt, especially when you're dropping 25 plus a night, and then you go out here and score 51 to get yourself back into the top 3. You should be in the MVP conversation. It shouldn't be no discussion at this point.
Yeah, I agree. However, unless something drastically happens in terms of, let's say, a run between the Lakers and Oklahoma City, and one goes the opposite way, I think the league has sort of already picked their MVP, and it's probably going to be SGA again. And I don't know. I'm so used to, as a Laker fan, dealing with who's the MVP when it comes to past great players that the Lakers have had, and I just kind of ran out of energy and wanting to even talk about it because it's useless. Most of the voters that seem to be involved in this are usually in the East Coast. Most of them resonate in the New England area or Ohio, both regions that aren't going to be watching the Lakers play basketball on the West Coast, and who absolutely loathe anything LA. And history says, at least modern basketball history says that unless the Lakers are a 1 seed, they're not going to have an MVP on the team. So the previous 5 MVPs, if you count Kareem, is the 6th. I can't remember what happened in 1975 when he won it, but let's say from 1980 to now, the Lakers have had 6 MVPs. Kareem, Magic 3 times, Shaq and Kobe. They all were 1 seeds in the West when they got the MVP. So unless the Lakers, I mean, I guess that trade could break. Could the Lakers go on a run here and get a 2nd seed? I think that might be the only way. Maybe. I don't even know if that's enough. So the next question, I guess, is for you, Legend, before you head out here, is what is the eventual, what is, since we're on the LeBron topic and it's an important topic here, do you see LeBron dropping to he doesn't. He's probably there's no way he's not going to start. But do you see him taking advantage of the fact that he might not be a bad number 3 on a team that could make a run?
I think he sees that it'd be better for the team. And I think he's getting to the point where he realized he got to make sacrifice that benefits the team and not worry about being that second option. At this point, he should have seen, especially when he was out, that Luka and AR, they work really good together. And if he's willing to take the back seat, continue to step further back, let the two younger guys lead the way, it benefits the team in the long run, and it benefits him in the long run. Give you a chance to get ring number 5. I think he will accept the role that he needs to be the third man. He needs to be willing to just say what he used to say in the past: fit in, don't fit out, fit in. That benefit his team in the long run. I think this team can do really well with LeBron. He just got to be willing to accept that it needs to be those two leading the way. The team looks 20 times better when they're going that way. And then the big 3 will start to mesh a lot better than what we have seen throughout the season.
I think the encouraging part about, and again, Legend, just interrupt me if you're ready to head out. Don't worry. Are you ready? Do you have to leave now?
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off.
Okay. Again, thank you for being on tonight. Have a great evening. I know it's late out there. It's what, 1:30 out there, Eastern time, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Have a good evening. Be safe. We'll see you on the next show. So I just wanted to wish you a good night.
Same to you, Joe. Everybody in the chat, take it easy, guys.
Take it easy, Legend. So will LeBron accept a third option role? Maybe he doesn't have to take a third option role. Maybe that changes throughout a game, depending on the matchup. I mean, LeBron looked pretty after he kind of got back into a little bit of NBA stamina, because you'd be surprised how fast your stamina goes away after a few games when you're not playing. Again, I never played in the NBA, but that's what I've heard from former players. What would need to happen in terms of deciding maybe LeBron doesn't need to be a third option all year in every game. Maybe sometimes he will need to be used as a number 2, because Luka's number 1, obviously, right? But maybe you adjust that depending on who you're playing. And looking at the structure of the roster at this point and seeing how things have kind of progressed, what's encouraging for me, so let's say the Lakers get the 3rd seed, right? Let's look at the standings real quick. Let's say they get the 3rd seed and they face Houston. I'm just throwing this out there. Lakers get the 3, Denver gets the 4, Minnesota gets the 5, and then Houston gets the 6. Let's just say that. So they face Houston and they win a really good series in 6. Great. Cool. Lakers win their first series. And then they go 7 against the Spurs, even in a loss. Let's just say that's how it plays out in the playoffs. I don't know necessarily if that's a bad thing at that moment, because you have a lot of young players on this team. And I say a lot of young players in comparing to like LeBron. You have guys that are there, and some of those guys are signed through the next year. Some have the option of staying. Luka obviously is going to be there. It's very likely that they're going to re-sign Reeves. What's encouraging about that is now these guys like LaRavia, like Kennard, like Hayes, like Luka and Reeves, these guys now have got to taste a little bit more of some success there together. And then now it makes it even easier to say, all right, if we can hit on the draft and maybe get a couple players during free agency or make a trade with the cap with the salary cap that we have now, now you go in the next year, and I don't think LeBron would be back. LeBron won't be back. The only way LeBron comes back is if they win it all. But so that means he's gone. Then you have now that money that you can allocate to a much bigger depth. It's a much bigger depth. This is what I'm saying. And then you got this experience that went on. You have a young team. You bring younger guys this summer. Now you're ready to go and rock and roll to see if you can make a run. And I don't know necessarily if that star is what comes in the summer either. Do they need the star? Is Luka and Reeves enough? At this moment, I don't know if I have that answer. I don't know enough about Reeves being the number 2 guy. I don't think so. Let's see here. I'm going to answer some of your questions. Also, Stefan, Joe, like you said on your show, my guy LeBron doesn't have to be third option all the time. He can play a role with the starters and be option 1 with heavy minutes. Yeah, I just don't think. I think you're at this point with the way the NBA is. I think it's too narrow-minded in saying, okay, you got to roll. The NBA has changed. It's a positionless game. Everyone can shoot, even though a lot of them might not be as good at it, but everyone shoots now. Bigs shoot, forwards shoot, obviously guards shoot still. So it doesn't really matter anymore about, oh, your role is this and your role is that. Yeah, the first option is Luka because he's the point guard. And in the history of the NBA, no matter who is playing, usually, if the star guard is there, he's usually the first option. You know, even as much as Jason Kidd wasn't that guy that could drop 30 and 40 every night, he was still the first option because he controlled the offense. Sort of the same with Magic, although Magic could score 20 and 30 and he'll drop 12 assists and get 10 rebounds too. That was what made him unique, right? I don't know. I don't know necessarily if I want to get into that, oh, it's got to be this way. It's not. It's going to be a game-by-game basis on how they're going to adjust to this. And that's something I think we should start getting acclimated to. Nick T. Joe, I hope doesn't suck after getting paid. Remember Chandler Parsons? I don't think Reeves is that kind of personality. Plus, I think Chandler Parsons' body turned into mush. I haven't seen, even though Reeves got injured, I don't see him being that injured, at least not for right now. Chris, Joe, what area do you strengthen with the players we have, or is it simply not going to be enough to get us to the chip this year? There really isn't any way, obviously, in getting talent in there, right? But here's where the last 3 games taught us something. When DeAndre Ayton has energy, it makes things a lot easier. Because now the opponent has to deal with a big guy who has talent, who's aggressive. And that puts a damper in the philosophy of make the Lakers think a little bit more. Now they're like, oh man, if DeAndre Ayton's coming in and getting rebounds and getting second chance points, shit. Now we're kind of screwed. That's what that is. Strengthen is going to be more mental, I think, with this team. Can you mentally finish the season? You're looking at a season right now where you're 66 games in. You have 16 games left. You probably need 53 wins to get the 3rd seed. That's the number that I had felt was going to be the number, and I think that's the same record they had last year. If anybody can check on that for me, I think it was 53, right? I think it was 53. Get the 3rd seed this time. Hopefully, you face an opponent that matches up well, which is Houston and Minnesota. I think they match up pretty well against them. Denver, it's always tough with Jokic, and of course Jamal Murray, kind of having a chip on his shoulder always against the Lakers and always coming through. But It's gonna be bad when it doesn't. It's gonna be bad when they lose, regardless of how they lose, because it's the Lakers. But for me, I'm not gonna look at it that way. If it's a first round exit and they're a third seed, you could probably get on that train and say, yeah, these guys really blew it. But if they get into the second round and they play really, really well against a really good team and get bounced in the in a 6-game series or a 7-game series where they're really showing like a little bit of improvement, because that would mean that they lost a couple of those games when a couple shots didn't go in. That happens sometimes, especially with a younger team. I feel like they can take something away from that. The only sad part is obviously they're going to have to, LeBron's going to be gone, and some people don't think that's sad. But for me, I've already explained why I think it's sad, because we're still talking about a guy that's an all-time great, a guy that got us out of the 21 and 17 game wins a year area that I had never witnessed in my Laker life. I don't think there were a couple lifetimes where people didn't witness that. Again, before the Lakers really shit the bed in 2014 after Kobe tore his Achilles, the Lakers from 1947, when they entered the NBA, at that time it was the BAA, they'd only missed the playoffs 5 times. Just 5 times from 1948 to 2014. And then, of course, they ended up not making the playoffs in 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 6 straight years. They beat their old record in succession. So we have to thank LeBron. No one told LeBron to go to LA. He decided to go to LA. And he's going to be here 8 years, won a championship, and is going to go out. More often than not, going out is never always a good thing in terms of the feelings, right? It's very rare that actually happens. But appreciate that he did choose the Lakers, and at least the Lakers were relevant in terms of winning and possibly going somewhere with him on the team. But it's still time, again, it's still time that the Lakers need to go on. And it's, I still predict, unless there's a major trade during the summer where they get somebody like a Giannis, I still think that the Lakers are going to be equipped in about a year from this summer, when they really can get maybe a couple more guys, maybe in the draft, maybe in free agency, maybe they get a star, I don't know, with Luka. And then at that point, you're going to see a 5 to 6 year run in terms of being a legitimate title contender. Okay. Hey, good to see you, Jeremy. Thanks for being here, brother. Stefan, are you putting any stock in LeBron becoming the all-time leader in games played in 4 games, Joe? That's kind of a last record left. I was a fan of Robert Parrish. Yes. I believe that LeBron is already probably had the greatest basketball career ever. I don't think there's really a lot of argument against that. The question now is there going to be a team, and does he want to continue to play? And is there going to be a team out there that's still relevant for him to go play at, pay him what he probably wants? I think he knows he's not getting $50 million again, but can he go somewhere where there's relevance and continue to play maybe a couple more years? And then at that point, it's kind of, I just don't see anybody, and at least not in the next probably 50 years, where they're going to be able to probably catch up to anything he has. It's getting to the point where his career is starting to look like Will Chamberlain. Who's going to go score? Like, if he plays another 2 years and makes it 25 years, let's say, right? I don't think that's going to happen. Let's say he plays another year, but I don't know. I don't really know, actually. But let's say he did play 2 more years. Dude, this guy's going to have like 46,000 points. Many thought 38,000 was a lot when Kareem had it. Who the hell's going to score 38 points? Think about that for a second. When you score 2,000 points, guys, 2,000 points, that's a hell of a year, right? Kareem had 38,000 points. That means, to put it in perspective, Kareem's numbers at 38,000 plus, in order to catch that number, you would have had to have played 19 years and scored 2,000 points every year to catch that number. That's why people said no one's going to outscore Kareem. 2,000. You'd have to score 2,000 points every year in a 19-year career. LeBron has eclipsed that by 6,000 plus. Who the hell is going to outscore LeBron in the next 50 years? And I say 50 years because it's an arbitrary number. I'm just throwing that out there. 100 years. Is somebody out there going to have a 35-year career in the NBA because technology allows them to? I don't know. But LeBron is truly extending his statistics to the point where I don't know. I don't really know if there's a possibility of anybody ever having that kind of career, at least not in the foreseeable future. The passing of Robert Parrish, I remember reading that statistic, and I'm like, how the hell is he still behind a Robert? Well, you have to remember they played 82 games a year that in those times, right? Even though Robert Parrish was probably kind of maybe playing bench type, player during his during his twilight years, but still, I mean, that's still amazing in any sport. So once he passes Robert Parrish, I think that's a hell of a accomplishment, and it adds to the already probably the greatest career that he's in basketball history. And Kareem has an argument there still, but I think if I had to pick based off of everything together, I do think that LeBron probably has the greatest NBA career in NBA history. Yeah, Sandy retired at 30 because his arm was kaput. His arm was gone. His elbow was pretty much shredded wheat. And we love Kirsch in our time. I didn't get a chance to see Sandy, so I don't know any better other than Kirsch. But I've gone back and forth, and it's gonna change obviously now with the Ohtanis and the Freddie Freemans, Mookie Betts. I don't even know who the hell they're gonna pick. Like I've been going back and forth on talking about, well, who's, we look at the history of the Dodgers. I mean, I know Jackie Robinson is probably the most popular Dodger ever because of the color barrier breaking, but he was never the greatest Dodger. He was never the best player, in my view, when I look at statistics. The greatest Dodger is probably still Sandy Koufax. But that's probably not true anymore now that Ohtani's played. He's only played 2 years, so I can't go all in on that. But when his career is over, it's going to be Ohtani. And then you still have Mookie Betts. You still have Freddie Freeman. As weird as that sounds, right? I mean, Freddie Freeman has played 12 years in Atlanta, right? But you can't have two walk-off home runs, a World Series MVP, amazing numbers the moment he stepped foot in Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers in the next 4 years have a chance at rewriting a lot of things in baseball, debunking a lot of things in terms of greatness, roster-wise and accomplishment-wise. If they end up three-peating, there is no doubt that puts a stamp in terms of obviously being probably, there's an argument that they're the greatest dynasty that's ever been in baseball because of the factors of today's game. How are these teams three-peating in a game that you can barely win back-to-back, right? Dodgers are playing for something that much greater than just winning a championship at this point. Now they're playing for immortality beyond immortality. We're talking about iconic, which is a word that continues to be said for the mundane things. You can't use that word unless it's legitimately iconic, right? Like the Yankees of the late 90s was iconic. The A's in the 70s were iconic. The Yankees of the late 40s and 50s were iconic. The 27 Yankees were iconic. The Dodgers have a chance to win 3 in a row and possibly be the greatest dynasty. And that's 4 in 7 years, too. Can't forget that either. No matter how much you want to bitch and whine about 2020, it's still a championship, guys. Everybody played by the same rules. It's not the first time you'll see a shortened season in these leagues, and it won't be the last. So if you want to degrade that championship, then go ahead and take away the 81 championship for the Dodgers in 81. Take away that championship from the Dodgers. Take away the Spurs championship in 99. Take away the Giants championship in 1980. Well, that was the Redskins in 87. Both strike seasons, 82 and 87, were the Redskins winning the Super Bowl. So go take their championships away too. If you're going to take one away, then you take them all away at this point, because I've had that discussion enough. But if the Dodgers three-peat and they've won 4 out of 7, making it to the playoffs all 14 seasons, 14 straight since the Guggenheims have owned them, and winning let's say the division 13 times out of the 14, with 6 appearances to the World Series and 4 wins. I mean, that there's nothing else you can say, because I think they would tie the record. They would tie the Atlanta Braves record in terms of going to the playoffs in consecutive years. So, went off a little on a Dodger tangent there. Sorry, guys. Get back to the Lakers here. Joe, was Fernando, I'm assuming you meant Mania rookie year, Hideo rookie year, better for the Dodgers? Fernando was better. Hideo was fun, but he fizzled out towards the end of the year. Fernando continued to dominate that year, won Rookie of the Year, and ended up helping the Dodgers win the World Series. Yeah, Anthony, I think you're probably right. You're probably right that Ohtani is already the greatest Dodger, but I'm just trying to give the respect to the former Dodgers. In our lifetime, in my lifetime, the greatest Dodger right now is Clayton Kershaw. I don't think anybody will argue against that. But it's not going to be forever. It's going to be very short. Matter of fact, if Ohtani ends up winning another MVP and hits 60 home runs, because I don't think he's going to win Cy Young, not as long as Paul Skeens is there. Ohtani would have to go 15-1 with a 1.9 ERA to have any shot at beating Skeens. Skeens is a beast. And by the way, 2028, get ready for that. Don't be surprised if the Dodgers end up doing whatever they can to get him. I'm a huge Paul Skeens fan. I love that guy. I think that guy is – you rarely see all man, tough guy, good guy, but quiet and kind of sinister at the same time. You don't see guys like that very often. Very Larry Bird-like, but maybe a little bit more flamboyant, if that's the only word I can think of. Maybe. I don't even know. Maybe that might not be the right word, but I'm looking forward to the Dodgers three-peating, the league going into a lockout, and then I don't think, with how good baseball's going right now. I mean, some of these ratings on some of these games are mimicking NBA Finals ratings right now. It's pretty extensive, pretty popular, Baseball is back. Baseball is back to being probably the second best sport in America right now, and I don't think it's close. Like, I don't think NBA is close in third. So it's a good time to be a Dodger. The Blue Dynasty is here in its prime, and it's going to continue as long as Shohei Ohtani's there. Jeremy, with the compliments. I appreciate that. my epic hair is if you've been around my uncles, I know all that. Your dad's side, your mom's side, whatever. You look at my uncles and you'll see why. Unfortunately, a few of them have passed, but in terms of pictures, and then of course the one that's still alive, they all have good hairlines. It's just kind of how it happened. My mom had good hair, God rest her soul. My sister has really coarse hair. My daughters have really, really nice, wavy, straight, thick hair. My wife has really thick hair. So it's in our blood at this point, all over. And I'm happy with it. I did shave my head once, though, to play Bane for Halloween. And I was surprised. I actually had a round head. I have a picture of it somewhere. I guess I'd have to bring it one day. But so if I did go bald, I think I would have been okay. But I prefer hair. I like to change shit up sometimes, Sometimes I'll spike it. Sometimes I'll grow it long. I think I prefer it that way. Thanks for the super chat there, El Rosto. And guys, I'm sorry I'm not able to pull this in. I'm not actually in Talk Studio. I'm still as an observer. When Gerald gets back, I'm sure he'll give you guys credit for what's going on. But El Rosto, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, good to hear LeBron getting some positive vibes. And at some point, you have to get out of your own mind in terms of what you think is going on or what what's going on, and focus on the task at hand as a fan, because you still want to enjoy things. If you're constantly in negative Nancy mode, you're never going to be happy in wins or losses, right? Let's support LeBron. He's only got a few weeks left of being a Laker. The more you support, the more you should be able to feel good about, hey, man, if LeBron can play well, it's going to mean better in the end. The Lakers need LeBron to play well. You got to think about the Lakers first. Where are we now? Bob Gibson, the greatest pitcher ever. Maybe the most intimidating pitcher, but I never saw him pitch, so I can only go by what I saw, and I thought Randy Johnson was the most intimidating pitcher. I can't go back there and say who was what. It's not going to have a lot of credibility behind it. But I will say this, in any era, a 1.12 ERA for an entire season, and he won the title that year too, so it adds even more to that statistic. It's like when Ori hit the 3 against Sacramento, the reason why that shot becomes even more iconic is because it helped them win a championship that year. Whereas, and even Derek Fisher said this, the .4 shot in 2004 kind of got dampened a little bit because the Lakers ended up losing in the finals that year. So yeah, there's an argument for Bob Gibson being the best pitcher of all time, but I think there's a lot of people out there that would argue, Walter Johnson has a say in there. Some people have said Nolan Ryan because of his statistics. You have Pedro. You got to think about this with Pedro, guys. Pedro is the other guy next to Randy Johnson in my lifetime. Pedro had his peak and his amazing run during the steroid era. Imagine if steroids were not as prominent then. What would his ERA be there? Would he have challenged 1.12? Not only did Pedro dominate during his prime, he dominated when guys were juiced to the gills. That is a crazy stat. That is something we're not going to ever know how good actually Pedro was. Something to think about. LeBron's first championship in Miami was a short season too. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that, Anthony. They played 66 games because they had a lockout then as well. Good call on that one. Oh, and there's always been an excuse, right? If before 2020, it was, Ray Allen hit that shot. Oh my God, I was just like, geez, moving the goalpost at will, right? JY, does Freeman go to the Hall as a Brave Dodger? Can somebody explain something to me? Because I can't find it anywhere. Is it still, or was it ever, you have to only go in with one hat? I'm hearing two different stories. Can somebody send me a link that says that they can wear more than one, or it's just one? Please, because I can't find it anywhere. I keep hearing two different stories. 99 season was wacky. Reed, Knicks coming up from 8th seed. Yeah, that was when they beat Miami in that first series, man, with a last second shot. Man, that was brutal for Miami. They got their ass kicked by Jordan all those years, and then the one little opening they got in 99, and then they still blew it in one series. Otani can probably do that, Joe. Yes, he can. Rosto just predict for the next 16. Joe Skeens looks like CC Sabathia. I don't know what kind of eyesight you have, 805, but Skeens looks nothing or pitches in any way close to a CC Sabathia. Now, if you mean looks like in terms of effectiveness, I mean, CC Sabathia is a Hall of Famer. I see Skeens, as long as nothing drastic happens, as a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, being a Hall of Famer, I could see that. But in terms of pitching pitching style, they're absolutely not even close to anything the same. Joe, have your thoughts have changed on Bam scoring 83? I don't care. As soon as I started, and that's another thing with the negative Nancy's out there, as soon as he hit it, a day later, everybody was shitting on it. Oh, he was getting fouled. Oh, he hit free throws. It was like everyone just downgrading it. And what it did was it reminded me what they were saying about Kobe's scoring. So I'll give you a more recent one. When Kobe hit 60 in his last game, there was a lot of people talking about, well, of course he hit 60 because he had to take 50 shots. People are pieces of shit in any scenario. It doesn't matter. If you're doing it because you have an allegiance to Kobe, okay, sort of get that. But it doesn't take away from what Kobe did anyways. It doesn't. I don't care about. I'm still just in shock it was Bam Adebayo. That's still there for me. If SGA had done it, if Jokic had done it, if Luka had done it, I think I'd be a little bit more in shock of it being done. Oh, wow. I can't believe they did it. With Bam Adebayo doing it, I don't think it's registered. And even then, it's like, are you really going to, if it's that easy where, he just went to the line and they played the Wizards and all that, well, then maybe it should be, wouldn't you think it would be happening more? I guess the easiest answer is I don't give a shit. First of all, Kobe's not number one on that list. It's Wilt. So when you say, he beat Kobe in that, he didn't beat anyone. He's still not number one. To me, I'm like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. Was Kobe's 81 more memorable? Was it more justified based off the fact that he had to do that to win the game? There's a lot of truth to that. But it's still a crazy accomplishment, especially coming from somebody like Bam Adebayo. I'm not a Heat fan. Zoe should have won, and Tim Hardaway was excellent. Well, I mean, should and would and could, those are words that are pretty close together. I don't think in that time period, Tim Hardaway was an amazing player. Zoe was an amazing player, but there are a lot of amazing players in sports that can't get over the hump, and those guys were kind of that player. And sometimes they have bad luck. They're at their peak at the worst time. They have to deal with Jordan. Too many guys had to deal with Jordan. Too many guys didn't win because of Jordan. I mean, look at that in the 90s. Clyde Drexler won again eventually in Houston, but that was Jordan in retirement, basically, right? Or coming back, not ready to play. The guys that didn't win championships at all because of Jordan is pretty long. Stockton didn't win because of that. Malone didn't win. Ewing didn't win. Reggie Miller didn't win. Sean Kemp didn't win, and he was probably one of the top 3 power forwards at that time. You could say it was Barkley, Sean Kemp, and Karl Malone. Not in that order, but those are the top 3 power forwards. Zoe won a championship. Gary Payton won a championship eventually, but they weren't the number 1 guys like they were when they were in Seattle and Miami at the beginning of his career. Yeah. Fond memories. Fond memories in the corner of my mind. A lot of people talking about the 90s lately. Interesting conversation. I'm going to go down the list here, folks, so bear with me. The Lakers could have won titles with Kobe and Eddie Jones. I know if they had known. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Reed. I liked Glenn Rice in 2000. If you watched the Lakers that year, 99, 2000, first year they played at the Staples Center. First year, Shaq dedicated himself as like Kobe-esque as much as he could be before the season started, which eventually ended up being one of the greatest statistical single seasons that I've ever seen. Shaq won the MVP, the league MVP, the All-Star MVP, the Finals MVP, the championship, the scoring title, was second in rebounding, third in blocks. He was even second in Defensive Player of the Year that year behind Alonzo Mourning. He was as accomplished in that season as you'll ever see in any sport. But G Money and that shot helped them win 67 games, and they probably should have won 70 that year. They had this 1 week and a half to 2 week period where they lost 6 of 8. They had an 11-game winning streak, a 16-game winning streak, and a 19-game winning streak that year. They were absolutely dominant. I mean, ridiculously dominant. If they don't have that little break during the season, let's say instead of losing 6 of 8, they were able to flip that, right? They win 71 games. And that was with Phil Jackson really not putting all his chips in the last 2 games that year. They were up to 67. They were 67-13. And at that time, they had the chance to tie their own team win record of 69 wins. And I think he went into overtime against San Antonio or something and decided to just drop all the starters from that overtime, and they ended up losing. And the Sarge, Shaq's stepfather, yelled at Phil. He told the story about it. I was actually laughing when he was explaining the story. I could only imagine what Phil was thinking at that time. Like, bitch, who the fuck are you? I'm the coach. I do what the fuck I want. We're here to win a championship, not fucking win an extra game that doesn't matter, right? Anyways, the Lakers should have won 70 games that year, and it would have been a beautiful thing too at that time. If they probably would have, if they had flipped that 6 out of 8 and won instead of, because that's the percentage after that. Like that, if you take away those 8 games, what is their record? Let's look at the percentages there, right? So 67, let's say 66 minus 8 from 82 is 74, right? So 67. I mean, they're probably sitting at 67-7 at that point. Yeah. Now the playoffs was a different story. Maybe they could have used Eddie Jones a little bit more, but G Money and the fear of him shooting at that time, I think, was beneficial for the grander scheme of things. And I might be wrong on this. I know Phil didn't want Glenn Rice back, and I think it had to do with a lot of the fact that he couldn't play defense. And I think also that was really the last year Glenn Rice was kind of productive. That was like the tail end of his prime. So them letting him go was, I think, the right move. They weren't going to pay him a lot of money at that point, and they couldn't at that point, anyways. You slid in Rick Fox, and then that was coincidentally, of course, that ended up being the best team the Lakers had during that three-peat with Rick Fox starting where Glenn Rice was. Rocket was the most intimidating. That's a good one, Isaac. I could say there is some merit there, but I'm still going to pick the big unit. 6'10", lefty, and you're a lefty. Oof. That was a hard at bat. If you were lefty and he was on, you were not going to get anything going. Josh Beckett. Well, Josh Beckett is the main reason why the Florida Marlins in 03 beat the Yankees in 6. If it wasn't for if you take that guy out of there, the Yankees win that championship. So I agree that Josh Beckett he gets left off of the hierarchy of World Series dominance in terms of a pitcher of the last 25 years. You have Schilling as someone who was very money in the playoffs as well. Curt Schilling is a very clutch player. The problem is he's not getting in the Hall of Fame because of his mouth. Much like the reason why Barry Bonds might have not been able to get I mean, there's other reasons, but if you had a mouth and there's a little bit of suspicion of something, or if it's true, of course, we all know what it is. Yeah, that's kind of how that played out. Changed the mound height after that season, too low scoring, so they changed it. Nolan Ryan played 25 years. Nolan Ryan played 27 years. He won a World Series in his first year as a member of the New York Mets. The amazing Mets of 1969. The story with that is the Mets, I think, were an expansion team not too long before then, pretty short-lived expansion team, and they beat a really good Baltimore Orioles team in 69. That's the story of that. And Nolan Ryan played 27 years. Nick Van Exel didn't see eye to eye with really many people. The whole Cancun lingo came from Nick Van Exel saying that in a huddle as a Whoa Bundy, right? You remember that Whoa Bundy and Married with Children? So he did that in front of Shaq, and it said 1, 2, 3 Cancun. And then, of course, Shaq went to management and said, "Get this piece of shit off my team." That's the story of Nick Van Exel was a Laker. Del Harris pissed off Kobe too, not letting him play. Del Harris was still in that mode. I didn't have a major issue with Del Harris, but I just think he wasn't the right coach for that particular phase of what was happening with that team. Low-key listening to Joe in the background makes my homework session better. Thanks, Karina. I appreciate that. SPP, Eddie Jones eventually became better three-point shooter and was better player longer than Glenn Rice. See, the thing is, though, Reed, is they still would have had to have paid him. Now, he got paid pretty good, pretty well. They wouldn't have been able to pay him. The salary cap wasn't like it was now. It wasn't. And it was very likely that they wouldn't have been able to pay him anyways. So by trading him, that might have played a factor also in letting Kobe kind of be free a little bit, but also the fact that they knew they wouldn't be able to sign him anyways. Next 16 will be 9 and 7. Let me look at the schedule real quick. It's going to be hard. I'll admit that. They've been really good at home. They've won their last 4 games at home. I'm sorry, last 6 games at home. They've had a pretty good run here, guys. Since February 28th, they've won 7 of 8. It's not bad. And even the 2 games before then, they lost close games to Orlando and Phoenix. And the game against Denver, even though Denver had a 7-point win, that one was pretty close too. So they've been playing good ball for a good amount of time here, almost about 3 weeks. They play Denver on Saturday. If they can win that game, then they're going to be going to Houston on back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back. Well, back-to-back games. But it's going to be Monday and Wednesday. And then Miami, Orlando. Let's say if they can beat Denver, split the Houston series. The problem is if they split Houston, that means they're going to not have the tiebreaker there. So they may need to hit both of those Houston games for them to have the tiebreaker. Then they got to go to Miami, Orlando. And going to Miami and Orlando is always a bad. I've said this on the show before. Miami, Orlando trips and Atlanta always are a problem for the Lakers. I don't know if it's the nightlife around there. I don't know if it's just jet lag from going all the way across the country, but it doesn't spell well when they go to Miami, usually Orlando. It doesn't matter how good they are, too. It never mattered how good they were or how bad they were. They just seem to not play well in the Southeast. Jared will be here in 5 minutes. Well, he said that on 11:09, so technically he's passed it by 7 minutes. Good for you. I remember Kobe game, he got 56 in the Grizzlies in 3 quarters. I still have that whack-ass DVD of that, by the way. It was burned, and the quality is so bad. Ralph Jennings, respect game regardless. That is true. Respect the game. I wonder at Joe if LBG scored 84, what would that be? LBG, I'm assuming you're talking about LeBron James. LBJ? Question for Joe. You gotta correct that for me, Alan, unless I'm off on your acronym. Anthony says, question for you, Joe. What are the chances the Lakers win it all this year? Can Luka take the Lakers to the finals the way he took Dallas in 2024? The chances are about 5% if I had to pick a percentage. If Luka is to take this team to the finals, he still would need assistance. He still would need assistance from the upper echelon teams having injuries to key players. If not, I just don't think they have enough firepower to do it. 805 says, Joe, there was a Reddit article titled Lakers fans pissed Bam dies in more gruesome helicopter crash. Yeah, this is the part where people are, and these people I've read are trolls that sit in an office in China, Russia, other places besides America to rile up people. These are the jizz stains of society. Matter of fact, it's less than jizz stains because just the jizz is an important thing in the world because it procreates, right? I'd say these people are the residue of what is a really bad residue? Gerald, can you help me with this?
Really bad residue?
What is a useless? Because shit has value. It's used as fertilizer, right? It feeds the earth. What residue is useless? Is it
mold?
Mold. Thank you. These guys are mold. Mold has does mold have any value? I don't think so. Except destroying people, right? They're molds. They're an infection. And these people who think like that think it's a joke that somebody died in a helicopter accident. These infections, it just what else can you say, right? But call them what they are, and it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. But that's what they are. Don't the Pirates always lose their great players, Joe? Yeah, they do, because McNutty over there likes to make money. And then, of course, the narrative, word of the year, narrative is that, oh, the big, bad, high market teams are winning everything and signing everybody.
I've been watching the whole time. I know that there's a question out there about Boston and who played Oklahoma City pretty good tonight. They only lost by 2. That are they the favorites in the East right now, and should they be considered for a title contender? I still think they're behind OKC or San Antonio in a 7-game series, but yes, they are the best in the East right now. And Tatum is only going to make, as he gets better, is only going to make them a better team forward, Joe. Unfortunately.
I do know this about the Celtics. They have been competitive. They have a good program. They have a good coach, good GM, players that know their roles, players that haven't been soiled by the stupid noise that hovers around that team. Whose team is it? Whose team is it? Whose team is it? Is Jaylen Brown? Blah, 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 blah. But in the end, the Celtics lose a lot more in the playoffs than they win in the grand scheme of things. They've won 1 championship in this run. And I'm not using this as an excuse. It's just what's happened. And that was a clear path to a title because they faced no one's number 1 in 2024 in the East. And then they played a burnt Dallas Mavericks team. Still earned the title. Still deserved it, still relevant, but the competition was laxed. So we're going to see here. And even if they don't win this year, they have something to fall back on and say, well, we didn't have Jason Tatum healthy. Watch for that excuse. It's coming.
He didn't play tonight. I know that.
I think it's a bad move. I think he should not play. I think you're taking a major risk. It's not worth it. Let him get healed up 100% and go after it next year. Don't ruin it. But I'm not there to tell him what to do. Carino says, Joe, if you could assemble your starting 5 players for NBA, dead or alive, who would they be and why? If you have time, may you please also do starting 9 for Major League Baseball. Wow. Well, all-time basketball, I would say Magic Johnson at the point, Jordan at the 2, Kobe at the 3, Bird at the 4, and then Kareem at the 5. That would be my pick for basketball. Baseball. Oof. Barry Bonds at left. This has to be
which Barry Bonds.
I think I'm okay with either one because
I'll take jacked up Barry Bonds
before the blow up doll Barry Bonds. He was still a 3-time MVP.
He was, but I'm just saying I'll take jacked up Barry Bonds. I'm sorry, he was hitting video game numbers.
It's hard for me to. I got the tail end of Kareem, but not really. Tail end of Larry, not really. Magic, yes, got a good sight of who Magic was, and then obviously I have Kobe and Jordan. Baseball's a little different. Am I really going to go back to Babe Ruth era? You have to put Babe Ruth in there, right? What did Babe Ruth play? Where did he play at? Was he right field?
Or pitcher?
He was great as a pitcher, but what was his position?
Would you throw him at the DH?
No, you can't. You can't put him at the DH because, well,
they didn't have a DH then. I understand that, but I'm just saying on it now. Would you do it?
No. DH has to be Ohtani.
Okay. I know you're going to put Ohtani in there somewhere. I just didn't know exactly where you would put him.
I'm trying to. Okay, so because I picked Bonds at left, I have to put because Babe Ruth played right and left. Babe Ruth in right, Barry Bonds in left, and then Mickey Mantle at center.
Not Willie Mays? You need some kind of defense.
You're probably right on that one. I don't know. It's hard to not pick Mantle. Mantle was.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Joe. I'm just saying when you have
this guy hit 17. This guy hit 17 home runs in an era where you only had one series to win a championship. I mean, the guy was really. I'm going to go with Mantle, and that if you say Mays, you're right probably too. By the way, you're probably right even more than me. Third base. I mean, the best third baseman that I've heard in my research and knowing of baseball is Brooks Robinson. Who else would be the greatest third baseman?
I'm not as Pete Rose. I'm not as even though I've met Pete Rose. I'm just not if the cheating, the betting scandal aside, I mean, yes, I understand he's the all-time hit king, but I just can't get there with Pete Rose. I just can't get there.
Singles players are hard to pick.
I mean, because if you were going to go to Pete Rose, then put Tony Gwynn in there. You know, that's what I would take. Or Rod Carew. You know, if we're going to go for singles hitters like that, it's, you know, it's, do you go for the guys? Do you go for the sexy home run, or do you go for the?
You can't. So Tony played right field. You can't put him above Babe Ruth.
No, but I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Like if you.
So who's the greatest catcher of all time? Johnny Bench.
Over Thurman Munson, yeah.
Okay. Johnny Bench at catcher. Brooks Robinson at third. Greatest shortstop that I ever saw was Ozzie Smith.
Defensively, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's the best second baseman of all time? That's the hard one.
So you would go with Ozzie over A-Rod at the short.
Well, A-Rod played third, so that's where that becomes a problem too. I guess you got to pick A-Rod at third. Maybe? I don't know.
Cal Ripken, there you go.
I don't know. Those are getting tough now, right?
Yeah.
Who is this?
Joe DiMaggio did. I don't think Joe DiMaggio.
Joe played. I believe Joe played center.
Yeah, he played out in field, but I don't think he ever played catcher.
I have to move Mantle. Mantle played center sometimes as well, from what I heard. I think Mantle was a better player than Joe D, which I don't know how far off though. I don't know. Second baseman is the hard one. I have no idea.
You might have to move someone over to the second base.
I'm really that's one that's stumping me right now.
Yadier Molina or Buster Posey for catcher? I don't know.
There's arguments there.
Yeah. I'd still go Bench or Munson.
But Bench, I think, is the guy. He also won. He was part of a really good era of baseball. I think it's probably going to be older guys, right? Where did Honus Wagner play? What did he play?
Was it in the field? I think it was in the field.
Let's see here. I didn't think I was
shortstop. No, my bad. Shortstop.
You know what, guys? I gotta research this one. I'll answer this question, Carino, on the next baseball show that I do.
Mookie Betts at second base.
See, the thing with Mookie Betts is he's played right. Now he's playing short. He's played second. Is there you have to go with somebody that's played there their entire time, I think. That's the only way that makes any sense.
I'll take Honus Wagner's baseball card. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
One of the rarest.
Let me get back to you on that one, brother. I'm going to get back to you on that one. I'm going to do some research on that one. I got to, even though I didn't see Walter Johnson and Honus Wagner and
Ty
Jimmy
Cobb.
Fox
Where do you
played
put
Ty Cobb. I didn't. I gotta look. Ty Cobb has to probably be in there, even in the dead ball era, right?
Yep. Joe Morgan. There you go. Craig.
Joe Morgan is, I'd say. See, Ty Cobb played center field, right? Is Ty Cobb better than Mickey Mantle? I don't think so. Not even better than Joe D. I'd say at this point, Joe Morgan's probably the best. I think I'd pick Joe Morgan to be second base. Now, the last one is first base. Who's the best first baseman of all time?
Clemente, yeah. Of course.
Is it Albert Pujols? Is it Jimmy Fox? Is it Lou Gehrig? I think I'm going to go with Lou Gehrig. So Gehrig, Morgan, Ozzie Smith, Brooks Robinson, Johnny Bench, DH is Ohtani, Babe Ruth in right, Mickey Mantle in center, and then Barry Bonds in left.
Yeah, we mentioned Mays because I was talking about
Mays is probably a more legitimate one because would you say Mays was a center fielder his entire career, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to switch it up then. I'm putting Mays at center. I'm switching him out for Mantle.
Hank Aaron.
Yeah,
so many names. So many names.
So Hank Aaron, he played right field, but you can't put him above Ray Ruth. I'm sorry, you can't. It's hard. It's a hard one. I think that was a great question, Carino. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really difficult. I don't know. Maybe some baseball historians can really just like rattle them off, but yeah, for us, it's hard because you come up with, oh, what about that player? Oh, what about that player? What about that player? So yeah, I agree with you on that.
805 says the Celtics kind of remind me of the Dodgers in the sense of how they run their organization. You're not too far off. They have a really good GM. The coach is in tune with what's going on with the team, and their players are cohesive and been together for a long time. And yeah, there's some merit there.
Ricky Henderson, see again. There you go.
It's difficult, right?
Yeah.
Ken Griffey, I think 805. If Ken Griffey hadn't had so many injuries, there was a very good possibility that he could have been the best center fielder of all time, without a doubt.
Can we do AL and NL separate?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes. Thank you. That actually makes sense. Let's do that show. I'm going to do that show for you guys on the experiment. So stay tuned. I'm going to do it here in the next week or so, being that the baseball season's about to come in, the MLB baseball season, and we will do a top 9 top 9 in each league. And that makes more sense in baseball because until 2000, they were actually separate leagues. A lot of people don't know that. We had NL umpires and AL umpires. They were completely different leagues because that's how baseball started. Baseball's history is the National League was actually the first league in baseball, I believe, in 1883. It might have been even earlier than that. I think the Dodgers came in 1883, 1884. I keep hearing 84 and 83. That doesn't. I read different things on that. But the National League started in the late 19th century. And then the AL came in, and then that 1903 is when they started playing the World Series with the AL versus the NL. And from 1903 till 2000, they were separate leagues. So it makes sense. I think that's a great way to go. And we will have a show on the experiment, having people choose what they want. So stay tuned. Please, if you guys haven't subscribed to it, go to YouTube, look up the experiment, and hit the notification button, and I will tease that in the next show.
So yeah, 805. Joe's got a cover for you on the Joe Sorok experiment. That's a great question. I don't know who asked the original question. I know JY asked the West and the NL and the AL, but I don't know who asked the original question. So, and yeah, Carino, I just went to the airport. I had to pick up my son from the airport and then come right back. And of course, I traveled only at the safest of speeds and it occurred no red lights at all that I passed through. I'll just leave it at
that. What happened now?
No. Carino's asking because he came on late and didn't see me here and is asking, and they told him I was traveling. So yes, I went to the airport and I just said now I was going at only the safest of speeds, and that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it.
Right.
But the Lakers do win. Want to go ahead and mention that tonight. Not a defensive juggernaut of a game, but I tell you what, we'll take it. 142 to 130. I was watching the banter back and forth in regards to Luka. I mean, again, at what point can we at least just give him praise and everybody give him universal praise for one game? For one game, can we just all come together on this as far as the concern? I mean, 51 points, Joe. 51 points, almost a triple-double, 51, 10, and 9. Did anyone play defense? No, including him. But him, Austin Reeves, scoring 81 of the 142 tonight, especially with a game where you had no bench support at all. 5 points from the bench, from the entire bench on that. It was all the starters tonight, and I really, really just think that, at some point, when LeBron was at his peak, people were praising him as well he should, and was well deserved, Joe. And I heard your thoughts on LeBron in a support position, and I thought they were well made. But can at least we talk about Luka in a good light that everybody can get around? Because it just seems like, there's some people, since Luka's been here, he can do nothing in their eyes. To go ahead, please.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. And I gave examples of it doesn't matter if it's Luka. It doesn't matter if it's LeBron. It doesn't matter if it's Kobe in the past. It doesn't matter if it's Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter anything. At some point, there's going to be parasites that will try to take you down.
I've had
and devalue your accomplishments.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And my issue this last week, my issues this off season is I've been hearing a lot of noise about something that is not true, and the cluelessness of a fan base that's clinging on to something that actually has no value, anyways. What do you mean? What do you mean, and what does it do for you? Remember, I told you about. Why do you give a damn what this person is doing statistically? You're going to go put LeBron's 44,100 and something whatever points on your wall? Is that what you're going to live with? I know there's a lot of people that follow the player. I get it. I can't relate to that unless it's a singular sport. And even then, I've never really been crazy about it. I enjoyed John McEnroe's game. I enjoyed Martina Navratilova's game, Roger Federer, Tiger Woods, Mickelson. I had a lot of admiration to the talents of those guys and was cheering for them a lot. But I never put a Martina Navratilova poster in my room or a Tiger Woods one. It's not to me, that doesn't do anything for me. As much as I love Dale Earnhardt Sr., I didn't put any Dale Earnhardt stuff in my house. I'm a team guy. I'm cheering for the team. And a lot of that is because the team doesn't go away. The player does at some point. I'd rather have an allegiance to a team that I know I can support before, present, and later. That's how I look at it. That's how I feel in those moments.
Arcarino is in the chat as well. Great to have him here. Stefan, you might want to cover your ears for the next few minutes. What signs indicates that Pelinka is a poor GM? Is it possible he doesn't have the resources to effectively do his job? I would appreciate your thoughts on this. I'll say first off that resource-wise, he has not had as many resources as far as scouting and player development as other organizations, because the Lakers, despite the fact that they generate so much revenue, the owners up until recently, Joe, were relatively speaking cash poor. They were among the poorest owners in the NBA. So with that, I think Mark Walter is applying the resources to make whoever the GM will be going forward their life a little bit easier. But also as well, Carino, I base everything to answer your question in a nutshell. And as I said on Stefan's show, it's the resume. The resume tells you the story. Now, this year has been a better year for him as far as the moves that he has made. But when you look at it over the course of his entire work history, it shows that he's a below average GM. And it just showcases right there all the mistakes he's made, all the poor talent evaluations he's made over the course of the past few years. You know, like Joe says, Joe thinks that with LeBron and AD that they left some titles on the table. And the first place I'd go to for the reason why that happened is Rob Pelinka, Joe.
Yes, because when your star says, I need to play a position where I can best show my talents, and then when you look at tape, you go, yeah, that's when it worked. AD didn't need to play center all year or all game or power forward all game, but the best teams he had is when they started him at the 4 and then slid him to the 5 in the end of games. That formula seemed to be pretty potent.
I did apologize in advance, Stefan. Go ahead.
If it's hard for me to justify with a straight face that the resources aren't there when you have, since the 2020 season, you've had teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are not known as big markets. Denver, not really a big market. Can't use the big market thing. The Lakers have a $3 billion TV deal. They're the Lakers. I can't go on that ride of you guys couldn't figure some things out and make this viable. He's there in spurts. He hits the home run, right? But he's Adam Dunn. He'll hit the home run, but he's going to strike out 10 times.
He's going to average 180. Like Dave Kingman, he'll average 188, but he'll get you 30 to 40 home runs.
Right, and that's Rob Pelinka, and it doesn't help that he's a little bit squirmy for my taste.
So again, it's just
I don't. There's something off about Rob Pelinka. I can't tell you exactly what it is other than what I see from far away, but there's hints of cowardice in his personality, and there's a level of bullshit in his speech. I don't like this guy was around Kobe, and I don't understand how he didn't develop Kobe's ability to speak honestly and professionally without sounding like a fake. It's mind-boggling to me. But I just get this weird feeling when he speaks that he's full of shit. I don't like people like that. And then Magic all but pretty much stamped it. Why would Magic say he felt backstabbed? When has Magic ever really talked bad about anybody? He doesn't. Magic is the most happy man I've ever seen in terms of a celebrity. I've never seen a man light up. That we were outside. We were outside and he still lit up the area. That's how much that guy had this amazing presence. So imagine being with Magic every day and having that positivity around you, right? You think they're putting Magic around the Dodgers and the LAFC soccer team and like why is it that all these teams have really good setups with Magic being involved, even if he's a cheerleader or whatever, a bridge to things? That's who he is. Magic being Magic is why he's great. When Magic is Magic, he's the greatest at being Magic. So we already sensed it. I've said this. I've told the story before. That Kentavious Caldwell Pope press conference was the seed. The way he was talking at that press conference, where we have no reason to look at Rob Pelinka in any way negative before that. Like, what? Manos from above? What are you talking about? And then everything kind of went the way it did, and it makes sense. Jeannie, a lot of venom I've thrown at her. Some of it justified, some of it not. But in the end, it's still that fact that I don't like the operation. I don't like how I don't like it. I've never liked how it's been operated. And but she does love the Lakers. She did some good things. Maybe we're a little bit hard on her because we're a competitive fan base, sure. And then in the end, she did make the right call because she did love the Lakers that much. She sold it to the perfect owner. So you have to give her props to that. And as far as Rob Pelinka is concerned, at this moment, he has done not a lot this year, but I think I'm pretty happy at how things have gone on. And his one acquisition in my view, made an impact that we didn't expect would happen. That you took a useless money-taking player and you turned him into somebody that actually has some value, that can actually help this team. That I could see get a pass at the end of the game, because you can't double Luka and Reeves and LeBron all at the same time. And here's Mr. Kennard in the corner hitting a 3 to win a game. I would not be surprised if the Lakers win a game like that, because that guy is capable of making that shot because of his game. So you got to give Pelinka his flowers at the moment. But in the end, it doesn't matter anymore. There's a new regime here. They're going to start putting things together with the way they're supposed to. And we're lucky as a fan base to know that these new owners already have a track record of being possibly the top 2 to top 3 ownership in all of sports. Some could argue they're number one.
Carino's asking, how much do we think Kennard is going to get paid? Are other teams going to aggressively pursue him? Let's hold those statements. You can say it if you want, of course, till the playoffs. Because again, while it looks good now, well, today it didn't look good. He's been struggling. He's now below 50% from three. I mean, you saw some of that today where he gets attacked on the defensive end. And again, he has been played off the floor before. The Lakers played him off the floor when he was with Memphis. So I want to see, like with what the same question or the same answer with Luke is the same answer with Austin, because, I've had conversations within the past 24 hours, Pinty in Germany and some others talking about how much they would pay, or that the Lakers are going to pay Austin this amount. If you know that answer, please let me know what the next week's California Lotto numbers are, because I'll share that with you. But if nobody knows what Austin will be signing for, nobody knows what Kennard's can sign for. Maybe somewhere in the teens, 12 to 14 million. That's a definite possibility, again, because that's where he is right now anyways. But that's based on their performance in the playoffs, Joe, because again, it looks great during the regular season, but these guys both have had issues in the playoffs, and if they are ready to collect on some cash, they need to have at least a decent performance in the postseason, Joe.
I'm not too concerned with anyone at the moment other than the guy that's already going to be here anyways after the season, and to some degree, or to a lot of degree, which is Austin Reeves. Anyone else coming back? I don't think it'd be earth shattering if DeAndre Ayton opted out, even if he had a good run. If Marcus Smart opted out, I don't think there would be anybody on the team other than Lucas signed, so I don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about him. Austin, losing him for nothing would kind of hurt a little bit, just from a salary standpoint. But I just get a feeling that they're going to sign him. I don't think they're going to let him go. And
committing $90 million to that backcourt, which looks, again, great today, but defensively, it's got to be a little bit of concern.
And that's why I think the Lakers have to let Austin test the market. Test the market. Whatever you get, we'll match it.
And the thing is, though,
will he be insulted? What if he gets a 4-year deal in a state where there's no state tax?
And they come to the Lakers and say, hey, look, we'd like to get him on a 5th. Would you do a trade, get some assets back in the deal? That's what I'm possibly thinking. Like, for instance, if Miami comes talking, and I've got this coming up, hopefully in a future Lakers Latest or an article that I'd like to do for the YouTube channel. And that is, if a Miami is interested in getting an Austin Reeves, that there are some assets they can send our way if they want to get him on an extra year. So no, Carino, $90 million for a Austin Luka backcourt. He can sign with the Lakers during the summer for 5 years, $241 million max. If they offer him the maximum, it's 5 years, $241 million. If another team comes along, let's say Miami comes along in the offseason, and they could prove that they could clear enough cap space, they can offer him 4 years, $180 million, unless they work a deal out with the Lakers, because they could the Lakers can trade his bird rights and allow that Miami or whoever to sign him for an additional year. But if it's just straight up, hey, we want you to come over to our team, we don't want to deal with the Lakers at all, they can sign him for up to 4 years and $180 million. But what I'm saying is that the Lakers, there is a real possibility, Joe, and you and I both know this, whether we like it or not, that they could have a $90 million backcourt next year with Luka and Austin?
Well, all the places that are going to be, from what I hear, it's the Bulls, the Lakers, the Nets, and then the Wizards, right? Or did the Trae Young thing kind of screw that up? Let's just stay with Chicago, LA, and Brooklyn. Is Chicago or Brooklyn going to offer a 4-year deal for Austin?
Well, again, some of these teams that are like have 20 or 30, they can move assets.
I don't think any team is going to drop 45 per.
They're going to have to overpay to get him.
Yeah, I just don't see it. It could happen, but I don't see it at the moment. The Jazz are projected to have around 45 million. Washington, I think is at 50 million. Something like that. From the last time I checked. Brooklyn is right around the same area of both those teams. Lakers are going to be between 40 and 50. Bulls have the most, I believe, in the summer. They have around 60. So are they going to allocate almost – is every team going to use their entire salary cap for one Austin Reeves? That's going to be the question at the end of the year. 805, I seriously don't know if you're right brain or left brain at this point with your comments. Stop saying things. I think we're done tonight with your assessment. Austin Reeves is not Klay Thompson. Please stop it.
And somebody mentioned that is he a poor man's Pistol Pete? When he falls in love with his handle, as you saw tonight, he turns it over. Even Luka, when he falls too much in love with his handle, he turns it over. Again, creating that ball space, creating to go, making sure they go ahead and distribute the ball. It's a lot easier than them trying to force it between 2 and 3 guys, because that's not a recipe for a lot of success. And we see that sometimes those two fall so much in love with their handle, they try to force it in between crevices, as you see in the defense, that are just not there. But I I will say this again, when it comes to what we're seeing with AR, there is a very real possibility someone in that has 25 or $30 million cap space could say, you know what, we want Austin Reeves. We're going to move. If we get him, we're going to move some players around, move some players off, get some more cap space moved up, and offer him a deal in the 40s. I know that Jeremy said $30 million, but again, and he also said previously that he would sign for less, but this is his one opportunity, Joe, to be the marquee free agent. He is in his prime. He's going to be 28 when he goes out there for free agency. He's not going to get this opportunity ever again to get this kind of generational wealth. And if you are representing him, you're going to find the best deal possible, whether it's with the Lakers or someone else.
The NBA has changed.
By the way,
AR is going to have to make a decision on whether he wants to win or make the most money. And he's not going to be the only one as the years progress.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
This salary cap that you guys agreed to, this collective bargaining agreement that you've agreed to, really puts you guys in a shitty situation. You guys think that the $76 billion deal is good in the long run because you're going to make more money because the salary cap's going to go up every 10% every year, but the aprons have made the NBA is not the NFL. You cannot get talent like you can in the NFL. You don't get Hall of Famers in the 6th round in the NBA. Now, there's no 6th round in the NBA anymore, but you're not going to get those guys on the regular. You can't build your team overnight. Does the NBA still want to see Indiana and Oklahoma City and Denver be there? Is that their goal? Because since they've done this, since parity has arrived in the NBA in the 2020s, their ratings have gone low. They might not care, though. Maybe the gambling is paying off everything. Maybe the TV contracts are already in. They don't give a damn. That's the network's job to worry about that. But they've had a lot of regional issues in terms of contracts with these teams as well. No one knows who to sign. No one knows who's going to be playing where. Blackouts are still going on.
I did want to mention Jeremy again. As I bet, I hope you got a chance to listen to the post game on Tuesday, because it was really actually lining up everything for Luka's really bad day before he had a good night, as far as from the basketball court. Because because he did this gesture, he was fined $50,000 from the league, and then TMZ reported soon thereafter that his ex fiance, ex girlfriend, Instagram model, I forget her name off the top of my head. It's on the ESPN story too. She has filed for child custody battle and support, custody support, and legal fees in the state of California, even though one child has only spent 3 months total in California. That was just after Luka got traded. And his other daughter was just born, has never spent a second in California. So I know that they had a domestic dispute after she gave birth. I know they had a domestic dispute in Slovenia at the hospital. I do know that authorities were called in, but no charges were filed or anything like that. But yeah, it seems to be a falling out between, mother and father there. But your thoughts, Joe? She filed child support in California because the child support laws are much friendlier to, I guess, the person that's filing those the type of issues, the type of child support, policies right there. So yes, California is very friendly as far as divorce settlements are concerned in this case. And even though it wasn't a marriage, a common law marriage, whatever you want to say, it's still an issue as far as she's looking for a really good support from Luka.
I don't really give two shits about Luka's private life. But if I have to comment on the grand scheme of things here, is I think Derek Jeter needs to write a Bible for professional athletes on how to conduct their life while they're playing. And that is, don't get married when you're playing ball, unless you're a massively secure person who finds a very good person in your life. And even then, I don't even know what the hell that means and how to explain that. I'm telling you right now, without a doubt, when you talk about careers, if somebody said, what career would you want of all the professional athletes that have ever lived, Derek Jeter would be the career I'd want. And I think more professional athletes need to take that path. It's a little easier for men to wait it out than women. I understand that. But if you, let's say, play until your late 30s and retire, let's just say 40 to keep it even number. You can find a 25-year-old or a late 20s partner and still have children and have a family and all that without worrying about, maybe, because 40-year-old women probably are not going to wait. I don't think 40-year-old women generally wait to get married till they're 40. I think that either happens because things didn't work out, or they've already been married and they're divorced and now they're available again. And for me, I would have never, and this is not a knock on single mothers out there with kids and any of that, but I would have never been able to. I don't want another man's kids in a relationship because I value my kids too much, and I would not want someone to put a barrier on it. Now, if there was someone that wasn't involved in it, that's a whole different story. There's different aspects of that. But in Luca's case, first of all, he's not married, which is me being a little bit more old-fashioned than most. I'm not having children with anybody when I'm not married. I understand accidents happen, but I don't make that. I'm not making that mistake. It never would have. There's zero chance it would have ever happened. So the ones that lose here isn't Luca. Obviously, it's not affecting Luca mentally, because I did hear that too earlier. How's Luca going to focus? I'm like, Luca's a different breed, folks. When Luca gets on that court, he's a magician. He doesn't. That's not going to affect him. He's like Tiger Woods. He's like Kobe. Maybe not as great as those guys in terms of sport, but pretty damn close. The kids are going to come out hurting the worst in this scenario, because it sounds like you got a greedy woman, not married to that woman, which is his fault. And now the kids are going to be used as a pawn in this fiasco.
Yep. And
that's the part I have zero respect for those who are trying to get up on somebody else. They're part of the parasites that I talk about in life. 805, again, your brain now is shut off completely. Seriously. Okay, if Jeter played in Anaheim, then explain to me why we talk about the Ozzie Smiths who played in St. Louis. What, St. Louis is lesser or greater than Anaheim? Ozzie Smith's a Hall of Famer. And I'm using Ozzie Smith as an example because he's a shortstop.
Well,
805, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're talking out your ass again. Pay attention. You went from one subject to another already. Anyone who says Derek Jeter is overrated should actually never speak again in terms of sports. Especially when I wasn't even talking about his game. I was talking about his career decisions. See, number one, you don't listen too well. Number two, what you say is wrong. Number three, you keep changing the subject when we're trying to focus on one thing. That's not good. Your communication sucks. You think the Yankees win 5 championships without Derek Jeter?
And he wasn't even in our list of all-time greats.
He's not an all-time great like a Mays, an Aaron, but he's one of the greatest winners of all time.
Yeah.
One of the most clutch players of all time. One of those guys that dealt with the new. You think it's easier to play in New York with that kind of pressure every day? Because we hear that about Phil Jackson, don't we? Oh, Phil Jackson had Jordan and Kobe, right? And Shaq. Okay, so why did Jordan never win a championship without Phil? Shaq won a championship with Pat Riley once. Why did Kobe not win a championship without Phil? You know, coaching matters, right? Goes both ways. I keep hearing about Belichick needed Brady. Well, no shit, he needed Brady. And by the way, who do you think drafted Brady? Who started Brady when it was extremely controversial at the time? They had just extended Drew Bledsoe. He made that call and said, I'm going to go with Tom Brady. Second year, Tom Brady. Oh, he needed Tom Brady. Well, he picked him and he put him in there. Jeter was carried by A-Rod, Clemens, and Posada and Mariano. Okay, I'm done with 805 for the night. Go talk to your neighbors, 805. You have no idea the fuck are you talking about. That A-Rod comment was over. Like that was it. That was done.
Joe Torre was a great manager. Actually, I got a lot of.
But Joe Torre was a great manager in that time. He was not good before then. In Atlanta, in St. Louis, he was bad in those
Remember,
areas.
before he caught on with the Yankees, he was doing color analysis.
He was not doing well. Yes, he was not doing well. Sometimes the right connection makes you better.
All right, 805. I'm not going to go there yet.
We're not going to ban you, 805, but I'm not going to respond to anything you comment on, at least for another couple shows. You've gotten on the blacklist of not being paid attention to, at least for tonight and maybe 2 more shows. So there you go. I might give you a shot on that second one later, but for sure now in the next one, I'm not even going to respond to your comments. The other one, I'll see what kind of mood I'm in.
Jeremy says Luka must have just split from his partner. Well, it was just announced. Actually, was just filed in court the other day. TMZ.
Love you too, Danny. Thank you.
TMZ just posted. They catch everything. Jeremy, TMZ catches everything. So, yeah, they filed. She filed in court, and again, we'll see what happens. So. All right, but the Lakers, they do get the victory, guys, tonight, 142 to 130. Looking forward to seeing what happens on Saturday with Denver, because Denver comes off of a big win in San Antonio. I do want to go ahead and mention I've got an NBA observations with Matt John that's going to come out later today for everybody. It's already available now if you're a member, and we saw 2 people renew their membership already. Thank you so much. But yes, there's also NBA. I did 4 NBA observations this week, guys. So hopefully you will check them all out. And then, of course, on Saturday, Current Affair, if you're still watching, you can redeem yourself with or in the eyes of Laker Tom, because him and his Coca-Cola can will be back on Saturday at 11. I don't know if I'm hosting it yet. Jamie says he swears he's going to be doing it. But the guys say they're back from Lakerholics.com. So again, but we'll be back on Saturday night as well for the post game. Looking forward to that. Jeremy says, "Man, I'd love to smash Denver. You guys reckon we have a chance?" Oh yeah, I mean, the thing is though, Jeremy, the defense, the effort we need to see like we saw against New York and Minnesota. If we see the defensive effort like we saw tonight, that's going to be hard to duplicate, because I don't think they're going to shoot quite as efficiently as they did.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sort of disagree with you there.
Why?
I just wanted to say that line.
Okay, just want to say that. But Joe, any last thoughts before we head on now?
Yes. We're going to throw a couple of new things on the show here and on the experiment, so be ready for that. Could be a little bit out of the realm of the sports discussion, but also still sports discussions. Be ready for that. The only reason why I say that is because I've gone out off the cuff a little bit on the sports topics, and people have enjoyed it. So I'm going to start throwing a little bit of those in there. And Gerald, you might be able to cut those up a little bit and probably get a different audience.
Not everybody likes it. I'll just say that. I had an audio consumer talk about you, and not the most promising of light. I'll just leave it at
that. Was this a producer or a studio manager?
No.
Or was it a fan?
It was a fan, just a listener, Yeah. But because you can comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and let me get that comment here. Let me look it up here just a second. Yeah. I'm assuming he's not a listener anymore. He said, Eddie Martin. But thank you for listening, Eddie. He said, the experiment guy is dragging the show down. Why do you bring him on? I come on here for Lakers chatter, not to hear this grumpy man's bitter outlook on That's what I said. But Eddie, I do thank you for listening. I'd really appreciate it.
Eddie, you can suck my nut.
He's my friend, and as I told you, Eddie, in my comment back, again, I understand he is not for everyone, but there's for every Eddie Martin, there's people in the audience that do like him. So again, and he does a great job. In fact, he covered for me tonight while I went to the airport. So again, I am just appreciative for all the time that Joe takes out of his day to be here.
It's impossible to not have those comments when even I don't like listening to myself sometimes. And I've tried to do shows where I was calm and collected, and all I see in the posts is, when are we going to get a rant?
Please yell at me, Joe.
What kind of rant do you want me to say when the Dodgers started 8-0? It's like, what the hell do you want me to say? They just want stuff. I don't remember a team starting 8-0 in baseball in years. I don't even remember who. Polarizing is an interesting comment to describe someone. Divisive. I'm a reactor. I'm not trying to be anything other than reactionary to the situation.
But we're different. It provides a different take, a different look than other Lakers shows. And if that's what it takes to stand out, so be it.
Yeah, this is difficult. There's no way. There's no 100%er on this one. I just don't see it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. One day, maybe not. I don't know.
But, well, I am glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then I hope you stay on us for as long as you choose to.
So. I don't want to be hated. I don't want to be I don't want to upset those who listen. That's not my goal.
But I never want you to go ahead and conform to something that you are not comfortable with.
Correct. Well. And I know I understand, you know, the thing that the issue with the delivery is, we live in a world where the Stephen A. Smiths who are ranting and raving, and that guy bothers me half the time too, so I get it. He's getting paid $100 million to do that, right? And what's the end game here? I have to use a wrestling comparison. Did you like Ric Flair when he was a villain, or when he was the baby face? Almost everyone
time he
will
went
say,
back to baby face, you just know it just doesn't work as well. You know, he would come out, defend Sting. Yeah, everything's great. Sting's my buddy. And then you were just waiting for it. You're just waiting for him to get, you know, just to backstab Sting and go back to the kid stealing, wheeling, dealing son of a gun that you know, we all know him for.
And that's the point is, now, the difference between me and Ric Flair, although was his gimmick, according to all the wrestlers, Ric Flair is really his real name. Richard Flair, sorry. He really, I guess, disappeared years ago, and Ric Flair became Ric Flair, which I can say that's there too here. But I have a little bit more control over my life than he did.
They call it living the gimmick, Joe.
And living the gimmick, yes. Living the gimmick is fine, but it cannot be at the expense of those around you either. This goes back to the Derek Jeter comment again.
You cannot still alive.
You cannot be unaware of what you're doing to others, or the possibility of what you're going to do with others. I think it in the end it lessens the stress. Now Rick is an anomaly though. Rick's, hopefully, knock on wood, Rick lives until he's 90, and if he does, he is by far one of the most indestructible human beings that I think that I've ever lived.
when he does pass, Joe, I do want to go ahead and sign a petition or start a petition to have his liver examined to make sure. How does a human liver live through all the torture that Ric Flair put it through?
I think you can probably examine all his organs, dependent factoring in.
I'm good on that. Thank you.
Well, I'm talking about internal organs. I cannot understand a man that wrestled for 30 years, 40 years on a very hard, flat mat in 60-minute matches, year in, year out, day in and day out, week in and week out, and
partying at night,
and still walking around. And I guess I believe him. Why wouldn't you believe him when it comes to his health at this point, where he says, I don't have any problems? That's pretty crazy. He's the Keith Richards of wrestling. He's the Keith Richards of athletics.
What's the old saying with Keith Richards? Keith Richards died 10 years ago, but no one's told him yet.
Yeah. And I got to say, man, I was so impressed with Keith Richards in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal playing Sparrow's Pop. His acting was, I had to rewind it and listen to him again. It was so good.
He was very good. I will give you that.
The man is a performer. The man is an anomaly. I love seeing. One of my favorite skits on SNL was Mick Jagger playing Keith Richards with Mike Myers playing Mick Jagger. And it was fucking awesome. I had to watch that over and over again. So props to Ric Flair. Props to Keith Richards. I hope they're alive until they're 200, in my view. Those guys are rare, without a doubt. Those guys are rare. And in terms of the subject that veered off into those areas, for those of you who don't like how I perform, know that I've tried to perform calmly and I've gotten called out on that as well.
You can't win. You can't win, everyone.
So what did I say before, Gerald? If you've got everybody on one side and the other side, that means you're probably in the right place. Because you're going to remember me forever now. If you see me later, you will remember me.
What's the old saying from wrestling? You want to be cheered or booed? And when they don't
I prefer to be booed.
But if you come out and you're not given a reaction, that's the worst thing.
I prefer to be booed as a performer, because there's a different connection with the boo versus the cheer. The cheer, much like there's a scene in The Bronx Tale, which arguably might be my I always go back and forth with the Godfather, Goodfellas, and The Bronx Tale. But A Bronx Tale, when I watch it, sometimes when I haven't watched it in a while, I just say this is my favorite movie of all time. There's a scene in there where Calogero C asks Chaz Palminteri, Sonny, a question. He goes, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" And the answer was, "It's great to be both, but I'd like to be feared, because fear lasts longer than love." And that's how I feel about the boos. The boos last longer than the love. And to correlate that with what I've been talking about the last few shows is look what happened to Tom Brady after they won those Super Bowls early in his career. They were the guys that beat the Rams, and everybody was cheering for New England. Oh, this an upstart team beat the greatest show on turf. And then over time, people started hating them. And then I gave it a little bit of a leeway, even though I know it wasn't the whole thing, because like, oh, well, they got caught doing this at Spygate, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But they kept winning even beyond that, right? Mm-hmm. And then Patrick Mahomes, whom I would never think that would have turned into what that turned into, right? It turned into that. They're going to turn on you. And I say they as in the public. At some point, the public doesn't like too much success. So the boos is a lot easier, in my view, and a lot more entertaining, and it lasts longer. It'll last forever, actually. So we might as well just get to it there versus the love, because I don't want to be loved and then hated for no reason. So that's how I look at it.
Well, again, for more, and of course, an in-depth look at the all-timers in baseball for the ALNL, National League, and American League, go ahead and stop on over to
It's
the
okay.
Joe
You can
Soro.
call the AL anal. That's a good
No, I
description.
said ALNL. I kind of like
no. That's you get your Freudian slip matters. The AL is an anal league.
No, I said ALNL. Kind of just slide out there. Again, it's the Joe Soro experiment. Also, as well, again, I've got an NBA observations for you tomorrow and Saturday. You start off your morning with the Lakerholics and end your evening with the post game with Lakers and Denver. Indeed. So again, you can't say we give you enough content, because we sure give you enough content right here to go ahead and consume. But Joe, great to have you here. Hopefully they will go ahead and examine your liver at the same time they're examining Ric Flair's liver, just to compare and contrast on that. So there you go. When you guys are finally dead and buried at the age of 238. So there you go.
If I can last to 80, I think that'd be kind of good. 80 would be
80?
is a good number. I think 80. If I could last to 80, I'd be happy as a dead man.
All right. Hope John can. John, yeah, he's been busy doing stuff.
So John and I have a little bit. We've set up a little bit of the next time we get together, if this can happen, we are going to do a one-on-one full court, up to 20 full court, like Fish and Kobe used to do. Full court, 221. Got to win by 2, and then 3-point lines are 2 points.
Well, that might get ugly.
Yeah. So we're gonna earn our cardio at that. I gotta start playing again. I'm gonna go buy a basketball this week and start getting back into shape, in basketball shape. And then at that point,
is it gonna be here, or is it gonna be in Las Vegas?
It's probably gonna be here, unless somehow we find our way to Vegas. But for sure here, and so I'll probably have to go to him in Anaheim. Yeah, he has a 24-hour fitness pass over there, and I guess he can bring me in as a guest, and it's a lot easier for me to get over there than for him to get over here.
Costa, no, he just said he hasn't been on the past few days, just scheduling things plus stuff with his work with Zoom, as he'll tell you. But don't forget to check out Lakers Corner for his 3-minute reports as well. But he said he'll be back for Saturday. But yeah, he said that before. But he's just a busy guy. He's a busy guy indeed. Shout out to Henry in our Discord chat, because he's got a brand new 7-weeker, and he's like, "How did you sleep, Gerald?" And I said, A, I played a lot of video games with a baby on my side. B, you find sleep whenever you get it. 1 hour, 2 hours here, 3 hours here. C, don't ever, for the first 6 to 9 months, ever think you're going to have
I have a wife. That's how I solve that problem.
Well,
I don't have the breast. Sorry.
So you did no support as a father, as far as
not at night. Not if you wanted me to go make the money. And I don't have the breast. Sorry, I don't. Just saying. I changed diapers, of course, because I can't. That was never ever going to be a. I remember reading something about, this guy used to wait for his wife to get home to change the diaper. And I'm like, what? I'm not letting my kids sit in shit, you dumb moron. What are you, crazy? So yeah, that's my story on the baby raising thing.
Carino, he's already said, Joe's on the record that he would destroy John. He would. That's why when he said full court, I'm kind of puzzled by that, because in half court you could use your physicality a lot more, Joe, and I'm just puzzled why you went that route. So
went that route because that'll put my butt in gear to get into good shape, and then once I get to the other side of the court, then it's back to the advantage. But I would have to be in tip-top shape, and that's what I want to be.
Okay.
Now John has a good jump shot. He might have a chance to do some things there, and I can't.
Well,
do
he was
anything about
doing
it.
something, I think, with his rec league tonight.
Yeah, but so. if he makes his shot and continues to make it, and I can't stop it, that would be the best way to go about that. But if he goes down to the block, he's going to have to feel some 90s basketball a little bit.
There you go. Eat an elbow or two, indeed. But it is, of course, Joe Soro.
I watched Magic Johnson play. There's plenty of guys that try to get up on Magic that were little, and Magic had this little kind of side type. I'm not comparing myself to Magic by any means, but Magic had a Magic's shielding of smaller guards was something that people never really talked enough about, on how he could master not being messed with by smaller guards. It was difficult for a guy for 6'9". That's why they were kind of like, well, how are you going to have a 6'9" guard? You're going to get the ball stolen every 5 minutes. Well, Magic quickly told everybody, I'm Magic Johnson. You don't know who the hell I am yet. You're going to find out.
But it is, of course, the Joe Soro experiment. Head on over there. He will have an experiment coming up in the near future on the best all-time.
And it's Friday 13th, folks.
There you go. There you go, indeed. Be safe out there. Weird stuff happening. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Again, I'll be back later today with the unveiling for the entire public out there for my conversation with Matt John. Although if you're a member, you can watch it right after the show. And then also as well on Saturday, we have the Lakerholics and the Lakers postgame in store for you as well. So again, great victory by the Lakers. They're now in third place in the Western Conference. How long will they stay there? We'll find out. But we'll be a part of it either which way, up or down in the standings. Doesn't matter to us. We're always here for you each and every time out right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
I hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah, they were asking me to do it the other day, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
5 hours of content, back-to-back days, total.
They want more.
Yeah.